starting page 156. Dean Koontz, Dark Rivers of the Heart. One by one, Roy pulled out the drawers on a highboy. They contained a few items of clothing, mostly socks and underwear, a belt, one green sweater, one blue. Even the contents of a large suitcase, if returned to the drawers, would not have filled them. Therefore, Grant had either packed 2 or more suitcases, or his clothing and home decorating budgets were equally frugal. Any signs of a dog? Roy asked. Johnson shook his head. Not that I noticed. Look around, inside and out, Roy ordered, leaving the bedroom. 3 members of the SWAT team, men with whom Roy had not worked before, were standing in the living room. They were tall, beefy guys. In that confined space, their protective gear, combat boots, and bristling weapons made them appear to be even larger than they were. With no one to shoot or subdue, they were as awkward and uncertain as professional wrestlers invited to tea with the octogenarian members of the ladies' knitting club. Roy was about to send them outside when he saw that the screen was lit on one of the computers in the array of electronic equipment that covered the surface of an L-shaped cornered desk. White letters glowed on a blue background. Who turned that on? He asked the 3 men. They gazed at the computer, baffled. Must have been on when we came in, one of them said. Wouldn't you have noticed? Maybe not. Grant must have left in a hurry, said another. Alphonse Johnson just entered the room, disagreed it wasn't on when I came through the front door. I bet anything. Roy went to the desk. On the computer screen was the same number repeated 3 times down the center. 31, 31, 31. Suddenly, the numbers changed, beginning at the top, continuing slowly down the column until all were the same. 32, 32, 32. Simultaneously with the appearance of the third 32, a soft whir arose from one of the electronic devices on the large desk. It lasted only a couple of seconds, and Roy couldn't identify the unit in which it originated. The numbers changed from top to bottom as before. 33, 33, 33. Again, that whispery 2-second whir. Although Roy was far better acquainted with the capabilities and operation of sophisticated computers than was the average citizen, he had never seen most of the gadgetry on the desk. Some items appeared to be homemade. Small red and green bulbs shone on several peculiar devices, indicating that they were powered up. Tangles of cables in various diameters linked much of the familiar equipment with the units that were mysterious to him. 34, 34, 34. Something important was happening. Intuition told Roy that much. But what? He couldn't understand, and with growing urgency, he studied the equipment. On the screen, the numbers advanced from top to bottom until all of them were 35. If the numbers had been descending, Roy might have thought he was watching a countdown towards a detonation, a bomb. Of course, no cosmic law required that a time bomb had to be triggered at the end of a countdown. Why not a count up? Start at 0. Detonate at 100. Or at 50? Or 40? 36, 36, 36. Word. Okay, that's 156, 157. $160. All this might not make any sense. Roy looked up from the cable on which his attention had been fixed. Almost directly in front of him, slightly higher than eye level, a 1-inch lens peered darkly at him from between the spines of thick volumes of history. He pulled books off the shelf, revealing a compact video camera. "What the hell's this?" Johnson asked. On the display screen, the count had just reached 48 at the top of the column. "When you broke the magnetic contact at the door, you started the video camera," Roy explained. He dropped the cable and snatched another book from the shelf. Johnson said, "So we just destroy the videotape and no one knows we were here?" Opening the book and tearing off one corner of the page, Roy said, "It's not so easy as that. When you turned on the camera, you also activated the computer, the whole system, and it placed an outgoing phone call." "What system?" "The video camera feeds to the oblong green box on the desk." "Yeah? What's it do?" After working up the thick gob of saliva, Roy spat on the page fragment that he had torn from the book, and he pasted the paper to the lens. "I'm not sure exactly what it does, but somehow the box processes the video image, translate it from visuals to another form of information, and feeds it to the computer." He stepped to the display screen. He was less tense than he had been before finding the camera. For now, he knew what was happening. He wasn't happy about it, but at least he understood. 51, 50, 50. The second number changed to 51, then the third. Word. Every 4 or 5 seconds, the computer freezes a frame's worth of data from the videotape and sends it back to the green box. Well, that's when the first number changes. They waited. Not long. 52, 51, 51. The green box, Roy continued, passes the frame of data to the modem, and that's when the second number changes. 52, 52, 51. The modem translates the data into tonal code, sends it to the telephone, then the third number changes, and 52, 52, 52. At the far end of the phone line, the process is reversed, translating the encoded data back into a picture again. "Picture," Johnson said. "Picture of us?" "He's just received a 50-second picture since you entered the cabin." Damn. 50 of them were nice and clear before I blocked the camera lens. Where? Where's he receiving them? "We'll have to trace the phone call the computer made when you broke down the door," Roy said, pointing to the red indicator light on the line, one of the 6-line phone. Grant didn't want to meet us face to face, but he wanted to know what we looked like. "So he's looking at printouts of us right now?" "Probably not. The other end could be just as automated as this, but he'll stop there eventually to see if anything's been transmitted. By then, with a little luck, we'll find the phone to which the call was placed, and we'll be waiting there for them." The three other men had backed farther away from the computers. They regarded the equipment with superstition. One of them said, "Who is this guy?" Roy said, "He's nothing special, just a sick and hateful man." "Why didn't you pull the plug that minute you realized he was filming us?" Johnson demanded. "He already had us by then, so it didn't matter. And maybe he set up the system so the hard disk will erase if the plug is pulled. Then we wouldn't know what programs and information had been in the machine. As long as the system's intact, we might get a pretty good idea of what this guy's been up to here. Maybe we can reconstruct his activities for the past few days, weeks, even months. We should be able to turn up a few clues about where he's gone. Maybe even find the woman through him." 55, 55, 55. Word. The screen flashed and Roy flinched. The column of the numbers were replaced by 3 words. The magic number. The phone disconnected. The red indicator light on line 1 blinked off. "That's all right," Roy said. "We can still trace it through the phone company's automated records." The display screen went blank again. "What's happening?" Johnson asked. 2 new words appeared. "Brain dead." Roy said, "You son of a bitch, bastard, scar-faced geek." Alphonse Johnson backed off a step, obviously surprised by such fury in a man who had always been good-natured and even-tempered. Roy pulled the chair out from the desk and sat down. As he put his hands to the keyboard, "Brain dead" blinked off the screen. A field of soft blue confronted him. Cursing, Roy tried to call up a basic menu. Blue, serene blue. His fingers flew over the keys. Serene, unchanging blue. The hard disk was blank. Even the operating system, which was surely still intact, was frozen and dysfunctional. Grant had cleaned up after himself, and then he had mocked them with the brain dead announcement. Breathe deeply. Slowly and deeply. Inhale the pale peach vapor of tranquility. Exhale the bile green mist of anger and tension. In with the good, out with the bad. When Spencer and Rocky had arrived in Vegas near midnight, the tower ramparts of blinking, rippling, swirling, pulsing neon along the famous strip had made the night clearly as bright as a sunny day. Even at that hour, traffic clogged Las Vegas Boulevard south. Swarms of people had filled the sidewalks, their faces strange and sometimes demonic in the reflected phantasmagoria of neon. They churned from casino to casino and then back again, like insects seeking something that only insects could want or understand. The frenetic energy of the scene had disturbed Rocky. Even viewing it from the safety of the Explorer, with the windows tightly closed. The dog had begun to shiver before they had gone far. Then he whimpered and turned his head anxiously left and right, as if certain that a vicious attack was imminent, but unable to discern from which direction to expect danger. Perhaps with a sixth sense, the Met had perceived the fevered need of the most compulsive gamblers and predatory greed of con men and prostitutes, and the desperation of the big losers in the crowd. They had driven out the turmoil and had stayed overnight in a motel at Maryland Parkway, 2 long blocks from the strip. Without a casino or cocktail lounge, the place was quiet. Exhausted, Spencer had found that Sleep came easily, even on the too soft bed. He dreamed of a red door, which he opened repeatedly. 10 times, 20, 100. Sometimes he found only darkness on the other side. A blackness that smelled of blood and that wrenched a sudden thunder from his heart. Sometimes Valerie Keene was there, but when he reached for her, she receded, and the door slammed shut. Friday morning, after shaving and showering, Spencer filled one bowl with dog food, another with water, and put them on the floor by the bed and went to the door. They have a coffee shop. I'll have breakfast and we'll check out when I get back. Okay. I have 165 circled, so I'm going to go to that page. I'm going to read that page. When the moment successfully negotiated, they returned to the Explorer, and Spencer drove from the south wing of the motel to the north wing, where the coffee shop was located. I have that underlined. So evidently, that stood out to me. He parked at the curb facing the big plate glass windows. Inside the restaurant, he selected a booth by the windows. In a direct line with the Explorer, which was less than 20 feet away, Rocky sat as tall as he could in the passenger seat of the truck, watching the master through the windshield. Spencer ordered eggs, home fries, toast, coffee. While he ate, he glanced frequently at the Explorer, and Rocky was always watching. A few times, Spencer waved. The dog liked that. He wagged his tail every time that Spencer acknowledged him. Once he put his paws on the dashboard and pressed his nose to the windshield, grinning. What did they do to you, pal? What did they do to make you like this? Spencer wondered aloud over his coffee as he watched the adoring dog. Roy Moreau left Alphonse Johnson and the other men to search every inch of the cabin in Malibu while he returned to Los Angeles. With luck, they would find something in Grant's belongings that would shed light upon the psychology, reveal an unknown aspect of his past, or give them a lead on his whereabouts. Agents in the downtown office were already penetrating the phone company system to trace the call placed earlier by Grant's computers. Grant had probably covered his trail. They would be lucky if they discovered, even by this time tomorrow, at what number and location he had received those 50 images from the video camera. Driving south on the coast highway toward LA, Roy put his cellular unit on speakerphone mode and called Kleck in Orange County. I have that in parentheses, so evidently that stood out to me. Although he sounded weary, John Clegg was in fine, deep voice. I'm getting to hate this tricky female dog, he said, referring to the woman who had been Valerie Keene until he abandoned her car at John Wayne Airport on Wednesday and became yet again someone new. As he listened, Roy had difficulty picturing the thin, gangly young agent with the startled trout face. Because of the reverberant bass voice, it was easier to believe that Click was tall, broad-chested, black rock singer from the doo-wop era. Okay, so that's all for this video. And I just wanted to say that I found a video one day whenever I was looking at YouTube videos. For some reason, there was a video with a soap opera, and I watched it, and I saw that Jensen Ackles was in the soap opera. So my grandma Paxton used to watch soap operas. I have no idea if Grandpa Paxton watched soap operas with her, but I know that Grandma Paxton watched soap operas. And so the dream that I had with this book being in the house that was on fire, to me, I was like, finally! So anyway, I decided to tell you that there's videos that I saw. I forgot the names that has the videos, but so anyway, I decided to tell you that. I'll put the names of the videos so that you can watch them if you want. Anyway, thank you.